Welcome to Make Things Happen with Diana Pagano. I came from struggle, living life on survival mode, and later found myself living in that same vicious cycle. Life is meant to be so much more than settling. Are you ready to stop dreaming for what could be and turn those dreams into reality? I thought so. Well, get ready to live life on your terms. Welcome to Make Things Happen podcast. Today's episode is quite controversial. People say that hope is not a strategy. I'm here to challenge that. Hope is my strategy. And after this episode, I hope hope is your strategy. On today's episode, I really want to talk about your strategy. Oftentimes people ask me all the time, what is your strategy? What's your go-to? And I'm always like, you hear a lot in the past about how hope is not a strategy. And I'm here to challenge that and say hope is the strategy. Because when you're going through the problems, the challenges, the things that sometimes outweigh our patience, or, you start to feel anguish, or you start to question things, and you start thinking, maybe that inner dialogue is starting to get to you and saying, well, maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe this challenge that's appearing is too high of a mountain to climb. Maybe I'm too in debt with financial burdens to get out of it. So why should I pursue that thing? And I don't care what kind of strategy you have. You can have the best strategy. You can hire the best gurus and the best experts to give you a strategy. One of the things that is an absolute necessity to be a part of your strategy is hope. Part of your toolkit is to have hope. And I'm going to tell you why. When you're going through the motions and the shit hits the fan, most people will stumble. Most people will quit, will give up, when all they had to do is see themselves coming out of that thing. When you don't see light at the end of the tunnel, I often say this and I will keep repeating myself until I'm 95 years old and probably more than that. If you don't see yourself coming out of the darkness, where you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, even if it's a small little inch, take it. You know what that is? That's hope. And in order for most humans to come out of stuff, you have to see a glimpse, a glimmer of hope. Without that, you got nothing to pull from. It's like saying, I'm not happy with my circumstance and anything like this, but then you don't have anything to grasp from. You're not stopping for a second and feeling the gratitude that comes with whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want more of. If you don't like your circumstance, you have the power to change that sucker around. But when you're so focused on the problem, right, and not showing gratitude, like, hey, I may not be where I want to be, but I sure as heck am grateful for the opportunity to go again, the opportunity to knock on more doors, the opportunity to go learn more, the opportunity that I have technology and all the things that are available to me now that my parents didn't have, right? When you're showing up and showing gratitude and having that glimpse of hope, right? When you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, there's hope. When you don't see light at the end of the tunnel, what hope will you have? How much action will you take? Why would you get back up? What is the reason that you're being driven to take action? Where's the motivation? It's all in our mindset. It's all in the things that we continue to either tell ourselves or have a vision of the darkness, of the storm that you might be going through right now in this moment. I'm here to tell you the sunshine is coming, that it's never down. Even when you think about economics, right? And a recession. Even when I worked for Remax, the big balloon, nobody sells more real estate. In the 70s, Remax was founded in a recession. There's like a million stories out there that you can think of. When it's down, it's never down forever. It comes back up. And when it's up, you're like, this is great, especially the real estate market. Everybody's buying, right? And then when everybody's scared, when it's down, that's where people get rich. The investors are putting in their money and everybody else is scared. That's the time that they get even richer. So life is that way. Whatever you're going through, whatever challenge you have, You're not going to stay down. And when you take that mindset and say, this too shall pass, this storm, this nasty storm that I'm going through, I often say that I'm on a roller coaster and I'm holding on tight, and man, this is a scary ride, but I know it's going to be over. And you know, and you have that hope. Without hope, what are you left with? You got to have hope. And for me, hope is my strategy. And I know it's your strategy as well. So the next time you put your strategy together, decide up front, when the going gets tough, when the ride gets bumpy, when you might seem like there's no way out, I want you to stop. And I want you to imagine yourself coming out of it. Imagine the tunnel and that you see light at the end of the tunnel. I don't care if it's a small, tiny window, take it. Because I'm telling you right now, you don't have that, you got nothing. So the next time someone says hope is not my strategy, I encourage you to challenge it, because hope will get you through a lot of things and will get you to make things happen bigger than anything else that you've ever done in your life. And the reason that hope has to be your strategy is because there's a part of your brain. In fact, you create these brain waves that get activated when you start visualizing a better outcome because of the hope that you're grasping onto. And you see light at the end of the tunnel, when you see, what else can this mean? How can I turn this around? And you start imagining a solution. You start unraveling what might come next. And there's a part of our brain, the reticular activating system, that notices the things that you focus on. So when you start visualizing something better, when you start saying, this too shall pass, what does it look like, me going through the dark tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel, and you grasp onto that for hope, you got to imagine a better way. You have to imagine going through it and you're on the other side and you're looking back at how scary that was and all the challenge that you went through. You have to be able to imagine a better way. And what that does, it creates spark. It even releases dopamine when you visualize something better. And so without hope, you're not going to imagine a better way. And to break the cycle and allow something different, you got to bring hope as part of your strategy. You have to imagine a better way that does exist. Research has shown with neuroplasticity is that what you focus on, the thoughts that happen, right? The thoughts become a new brainwave opens up based on the thoughts that you're having. So that reticular activating system that exists and is a part of our brain that notices the things. It's like a filter, right? Antennas are up. And now by activating that, you'll start to notice opportunities, resources, ideas will come to you, but it won't get activated unless you find that small glimmer of hope until you can see it, right? When you start seeing a better way, you're going to feel more hope. When you see the light at the end of the tunnel, you're going to feel like there is going to be a different change. There is going to be a different outcome for me. So I encourage you, the next time that you feel challenged, that you grasp onto hope and imagine a better way. Because when you imagine a better way, you spark these new brainwaves. And it's been proven, right? Neuroscience will tell you that you start to imagine new things, the thoughts that you're having, the focus that now you're focusing on a solution, things will start to come your way because you created momentum there. You started to spark something, ideas, solutions, resources. And that's how you make things happen. It's not about the challenge, the problem. It's how you show up to those problems, what you decide to do. Are you going to fold? Are you going to quit? Are you going to get back up and start imagining something different? Because that alone will fill you up with hope and you'll start seeing everything start to change in your life. And I'm here to tell you that whatever you're going through when you start a business, maybe you're in real estate, maybe you have a background in real estate like I did for many years. Maybe you're working for somebody else. Regardless, whatever you're doing, whoever you are, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. And when you feel that things are really hard, as they sometimes are, right? Life is that way sometimes when we feel that it's hard, where we feel challenged. I want you to think about, what else does this mean? What else can I do? Just by asking those questions, you will uncover so much more. But if you're not asking, you're not going to receive, right? And so this is why hope being a strategy, I cannot stress enough when I started to think about what are the things that we do when things get tough. when you get rejected, when it didn't go the way that you wanted. And maybe it's not a small thing, right? It could be a big thing. It could be like almost a catastrophe in your mind. You might be losing your house, God forbid, or a health situation. Whatever it is, big or small, you gotta have hope. Because when I started to really understand human behavior, understanding my own behavior and my own self-discovery, the same thing doesn't matter. You're from India, from China, from Israel, from Spain, Mexico, like my parents, wherever you're from, whatever background, whether you grew up with money, high society, or barely getting by the way that my parents were. Regardless, it does not discriminate. The number one common denominator with all human beings is striving to live a life with purpose and to feel certainty, to feel safe, to know that when you do this thing, it's going to work out. We all want to be successful. You don't wake up in the morning, no one does, saying, I'm going to suck today, or I'm not going to do the thing. No one wakes up just wanting to not be successful. Everybody wants to be successful. Sometimes they don't have clarity. Sometimes they don't really know what they want to do, right? But at the end of the day, when and if you're going through something hard, it's easy to give up. Most people will give up. So when you have a challenge, when you get rejected, you have two choices. You will always have two choices. And hear me out. The first choice is going to be to receive that rejection as, oh my gosh, I knew I shouldn't have done this thing, or I knew I shouldn't have taken this treatment because I knew it wasn't going to work, or maybe it just wasn't meant for me. This is my destiny. And let me tell you something. If the results you're getting and that first option, that rejection, if that rejection or that disappointment or challenge hurts your heart, hurts your soul, that is not the option for you. If you're fine with the rejection, if you said, okay, doesn't faze me, then what am I here to tell you? But if it hurts your heart, whatever it is, that choice, the first choice is to fold. That's the first choice, to fold and say, this is just what it is. The second option that is for you is to keep going, is to go again. The second option is to see things unfolding differently. I'm telling you, I have been through so many challenges, worse than some people, probably other people worse than me, right? Everybody has a story, and I have seen things, I have felt things, I have gone through things where it was so hard and I didn't know how I was going to get out of the situation. And I'm here to tell you that it always came back to this. Regardless of your faith, regardless of who you believe in, regardless of that, you got to have hope. You have to have faith that you will come out of this. If you don't have faith in something else bigger than yourself, you're going to feel empty. You're going to feel like you have nothing to grasp from. And God didn't create us to live scared and to be nervous and to feel hopeless, right? Sometimes that challenges us because maybe we weren't putting the trust in our divine destiny that we're always being aligned. You're always being aligned, whether you realize it or not. In the pain, in the frustration, in the challenges, you're being tested. You were meant to live this journey, as hard as it may sound for many people to swallow. I know, because I'm like, how did I attract this? How am I meant to live this thing that hurts my heart? There's always a purpose. And when you're open to receive the answers, when you're open to let your entire self be guided, let your worries, your troubles, and put it into God. God has your back. God has your back, whoever your God is. And when He gave us the best blessing, the best thing that money cannot buy is the power to say, I'm going to change the channel right now because the channel that I'm watching is fuzzy, it's not clear, or maybe it's tormenting you. It's just a scary channel. It makes you feel nervous. It makes you feel scared. How can you grab onto hope and faith when you're on a channel that all you're seeing is all the what ifs going wrong for you or your family or your friend or your spouse? I'm telling you right now, you cannot stay in a scary picture in your mind. It always starts in your mind. There is science that tells us, there is research that shows we can move mountains with our mind. We can make the impossible happen when we put ourselves in God's hands. I am living proof. I am the one that thought that things weren't going to happen for me or that this was it. And I changed that. I changed that cycle. It wasn't working for me. And I'm here to tell you, I challenge you. I challenge you to try this. And even if you think I'm crazy, and I don't care what comments I might get below, I'm here for it. I'm here for it because I know I was there once upon a time. And I'm here to tell you that this isn't some weird opinion that I have. Goes back for centuries of how we were all created and the power that we all have to really manifest and create the life that we always wanted, the life that you want, the life that you can wake up and say, this is a life with real purpose, because you won't leave anything on the table. When you're that 95-year-old person and looking back on what you didn't do because you were so worried what others thought of you. You were worried that maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I'm not ready for this yet. Maybe I'm going to disappoint my family members. Maybe I should go back to school and do that thing because there's nobody saying yes to me when I'm looking for that job. That is a bunch of let me tell you, it's a bunch of BS. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what college degree you didn't end up getting. None of it matters. And it sounds crazy. Like, what do you mean? Because it starts in your mind. No matter the best architect on the planet Earth that created amazing bridges didn't do it successfully until first seeing it in their minds. This is research. It doesn't lie. And it sounds crazy when I get so into this because it does sound a little crazy to people when they first hear it. Like, what do you mean? I can just sit there and imagine the bridge and it's all the actions. It's everything that you do in your journey. There's going to be a time or 2 or 3 or 10 that things won't go your way. That is how life was intended to be. It wasn't intended for you to get 100% on everything you do. It was intended to test you. It was intended for you to grab onto hope as your freaking strategy. Yes, it was intended for you to grab onto things, grab onto hope, grab onto faith, and bring that along with your strategy so that you can one day be somewhere, whether it's with a team member, whether it's with your neighbor or a client, for you to be there one day telling the world, telling that person that you walked through the trenches, that you had no hope. I get really emotional. You want to know why? When I grew up, my parents tried their best. And then later I realized, holy cow, did they? Did they try their best? And as loving as they were, they had issues. And I'm so grateful for the journey as a child, being a family of 6 in a 2-bedroom apartment practically my entire childhood. And I'm grateful. And you want to know why? Because it has made me so freaking strong. I have thick skin, and I've gone through the unfathomable. And I felt guilty to even share stories at times about my story and my journey. Because I always think about those kids that are left behind in third world countries, sometimes even in like our own backyard. And so I want you to understand whatever your challenge, whatever your thing is, it's never too small to feel comfortable enough to accept it as your burden. Don't worry about, oh, well, my burden isn't as big as other people's burden. So you kind of tend to feel a little unworthy to even express it, whatever you're going through. I know because I was there. I'm like, who am I to complain? I went through this, I went through that. So what? Look at this other person. It's almost like that saying, when you're in a room, let's pretend you're in a room with like 50 people or 20 or 10 or 50, however many people. You're in a room and everybody goes to the middle of the circle, drops off their challenge, their problem. And then you look at everybody's problem. I said this before. You look at everybody's problem and you're like, oh my gosh, you're going through that? Man, I thought I had it hard. And then more than probably 100% of the time, you will pick up your own problem back and say, I'm going to keep my problem because look at everybody else's. So, right? I'm here to tell you that you can change your life around. Whatever you're doing, whatever you've done or haven't done, you have today. You have right now to make a difference. You have right now to make a change. You have right now to decide that you're not going to give up, that you're going to get back up, that you're going to bring hope as your strategy. Because when you see light at the end of the tunnel, you got some hope to keep going. And when you get down again, you're going to get back up. And when you get down again, you're going to get back up and grab onto that hope and start moving forward 1 foot first. And even research shows that your first step is the hardest one that you're going to take. And then the second one is easier. And then the third one is, it's the journey. It's a journey. And you have what it takes. So I hope that the next time you hear somebody say that hope is not a strategy, that you challenge them and that you bring that awareness. If you've felt that you had hope in your journey and it made a difference, that you can share that with people. Because hope is my strategy, and I hope that you bring hope as your strategy. That is all on today's podcast of Make Things Happen. I hope that you subscribe below because I want to make sure that you get every notification about future episodes. I have a real treat coming your way. And leave a comment. What are you now going to do to ensure that hope is your strategy, that it becomes your strategy every day? There's no problem too big or too small to bring hope along with you on your strategy.